Hey guys, Devin with ReefDudes, and I'm super excited because today we're going to take a look at the Ecotechmarine Radion diffusers. Now, BRS did a video on this a few weeks back and they seem to love them. I haven't had a chance to put them on the tank yet, so we're going to do that today and find out how well they work. Now, my kind of initial guess is that they're going to make it more evenly diffused light. It's going to be more of a T5 look and more of a blanket of light. I know it does give about a 15-20% reduction in power, so you might have to turn up the lights a little bit, but at the same time, it's, see how it affects shimmer, how it affects light, and this could be the answer for a lot of people that want that T5 LED blend in a nice small package that still looks nice and sleek. So we're gonna put it on the tank today, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it on half of the tank. So I'm gonna have half my tank with diffusers, half without, and I'm gonna leave it like that for a couple days, and then I'll put on the rest of the tank, and it'll give me a good chance to see them side by side and really get a feel for it. So let's get to put these babies on the tank. Now the install itself is pretty easy. There's only 4 screws to remove on the bottom of the fixture. There's 1 in each corner. And then we'll screw the new white panel on, and the bottom half of the diffuser just magnets on. So it's a pretty simple install. Should probably take these off the tank, but I got my screen mesh on, so I shouldn't have to worry about any screws or anything falling in. I have all my wires routed through the metal, so a little more work to take them off, so we're just gonna leave them on for now. There we go. Alright, so the frame's on and the diffuser panel should just magnet itself up to the top. There you go. Pretty quick, easy install. It does add a little bit of height to the LEDs, not a huge amount. Just for a bit of a size comparison, it's about 15 millimeters thick for each panel, so it has a little bit of thickness, but not too bad. It still is fairly low profile looking. Now, one big benefit is you don't see the LEDs anymore, but you do see that kind of flat panel of light. So initial effects, so far we only have the 1 diffuser on. Looking at the tank over here, the shimmer seems more larger and uniform, like it's more of a single light point rather than multiples. Over here you can see lots of little bits of shimmer all together. Over here it's more just like a flowy shimmer. So that is one initial change that I've noticed. As for color, I can't say if I've noticed any difference on that front yet. So let's get on, install the next diffuser, and then we'll step back and take a better look at it. So there's a proper way to put these on. If you look and you see the holes are closer to the one edge, that goes on the same side as your vent. That's probably the easiest way to figure it out. Other than it's good old trial and error. Alright, so number 2 is just about installed. Alright, so number 2 is installed. So I'll give you guys a bit of a side-by-side comparison. The far 2 lights have diffusers, the closer 2 do not. So I'm not sure how well it's picking up on camera, but over here, the biggest things I noticed, it's hard to tell a difference in shimmer unless you can see it side by side. So here it's more uniformly wavy shimmers, where on this half you can see more of the micro shimmers from the individual pucks. So that's kind of the initial thing I noticed. Light-wise, I don't think there's a huge difference. I physically know these are about roughly 15% less light gets through the diffuser panel, but on the same side you do get more of a blanket coverage. Now, so I'm gonna leave this on the tank for probably the next 4 days or so before I install the second 2, just to get a really good feel for it, and then I'll come back and give you guys an update in a couple days. Alright guys, it's now Sunday afternoon. I've left the lights on about 2 and 2 for a couple days just to get a really good feel for what it looked like with and without. And then yesterday afternoon I put on the other 2, so now I have all 4 diffusers on the tank. Now, initial thoughts after looking at it, the biggest things I noticed, the shimmer is much nicer. It's more of that kind of Kessel shimmer that everyone seems to love. With normal LEDs, you get I know they say like the disco ball effect. I didn't really notice it too much until I saw them side by side. Now, if you're looking at this, normally you'll see lots of little tiny mini scattery shimmers. Whereas the diffusers, you only really see big overarching. So it's more of that single point light source type of look. Aside from that, with normal LEDs, I'd normally notice in the shadows, like the edge of shadows, when only one light was hitting it, you sometimes get little funky colors in the shadows. You don't get that at all with this, so it's really good color blending. Aside from that, there's no really hot spots. Now, I did do some par testing to kind of see what the difference was. And using, at the top of the tank, there's maybe some spots there's hardly anything, other spots there's maybe 10 par difference. At the sand bed, I'm gonna say about 20 to 30 par. So I played with it a bit, and I had to ramp up the lights. I previously had them at 45%, I upped them 10% higher to 55%. And that pretty much leveled out my par, so it's about what it was prior to diffusers. Now, yes, it takes a little more energy. I did a couple calculations, and it consumes about 25 watts more power, so not a huge amount, but a little bit more. So before I was running 113 watts, and now it's about 138 watts. Aside from that, they're fairly low profile. I mean, the light's not quite 100% as sleek as without it, but it still doesn't add much, and it still looks pretty good. My own little mini one gripe is I wish the texture matched the light. That being said, it does match the top of it and the bracket and stuff, so it still flows with it. Now, aesthetically, it looks nice. The tank shimmer, the colors are blended very nicely. So there's zero complaints on that. Now, according to my fiance, I asked what her opinion was on it. Her main comments was the diffusers are easier on the eyes than seeing the LEDs. So that was her 2 cents, so thought I'd throw that in. Now, aside from that, overall, I am digging them. Now, from upping my lights, I know one thing I liked when it was less than 50%, the fans never kicked on. At 55%, I have noticed them kick on once or twice. If they do, they're actually been very quiet. I've hardly noticed it, except if I'm standing right beside it. So that hasn't been a huge deal yet, so we'll see what happens with that. But overall, I'm digging it. I love the shimmery look. I like the color blending, and I think it gives the tank a nice overall kind of closer to a T5 look. To compare to T5s, a lot of people are looking at the hybrid things these days where they have LEDs and T5s blended. I feel this is something kind of in the middle. It gives you that kind of T5 more of a blanket of light rather than just that point source. So it's not, quite T5, but I feel like it's kind of like almost its own little hybrid of it. So it's something kind of bridging the gap between the two. Now, I also do have my lights spaced fairly evenly over the tanks. That really does help to give it a nice even distribution. So far I'm digging the diffusers, but I will give you guys a future update in probably a month or so once I've had them on the tank for a long period of time. Now, if you guys have any questions on them, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, and if you have not done so, make sure you guys subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video.